Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, today we'll continue our book reading to the Toyota Way to Service Excellence, Lean Transformation in Service Organization. So far, we've been learning more about lean transformation, how to apply it in our organizations, and what it takes to achieve a lean transformation in an organization. Yesterday, in chapter 4, where we are looking at developing lean process, still telling us a short story about the NL service incorporation. Yesterday, we looked at reflection, reaching out for help, where Sam, the manager, was actually reaching out for help. The book described him as someone who was ready for a teacher but didn't know that he needed one. He took Sarah's advice to consult an expert on how to change things in his organization. If we've been following the story so far, we would see that things are not actually well done. The processes in NL services is not actually favorable to customers because they have complaints every day from customers regarding one thing or the other. So today on page 92, we're looking at understanding and encouraging leadership vision. Still on the NL service story, we'll be looking at how Leslie met Sam and he talked about his vision for his organization. So today said understanding and encouraging leadership vision. Leslie meets Sam and asks for his vision. 2 weeks later, Leslie Harris, the lean consultant that Sarah had recommended, was sitting in Sam McQueen's office, waiting for Sam to finish up a call. As she looked around the room, she noticed the picture hanging on the wall behind Sam's desk. A sculling boat with all the oars in the water. Interesting, she thought to herself. After the introduction and required pleasantries, Sam got straight to the point. I'm not usually one to ask for help. I am not totally convinced that this lean stuff can work here in NL service, since we do not manufacture any physical product. But Sarah Stevens said that it really helps her company. To be honest, I am desperate and willing to listen to what you think you can do for us here. The problem is actually quite simple. The credit transaction process aren't doing what they are supposed to be doing. So we are not meeting the numbers that our corporate office has set for us on a regular basis. We need to find a way to get the credit transaction processors and their managers and the regional managers all under control so that we can get those numbers back to where they should be once and for all. If Sarah thinks that you are the person that can get that done for us, I am willing to give you a chance. Leslie thought for a moment before she replied. Sam, she said, I'm happy that Sarah thinks so highly of the outcomes at her company that she would recommend me. Her company thought the problem was simply in the beginning. I'll take that again. Her company thought the problems were simple in the beginning too, and that it would be quick and easy fix. But it has been a lot of hard work to get where we are today. Before we start fixing problems and putting solutions into place here at NL Services, we're going to have to spend some time really understanding what is going on in credit transaction processing and what your vision is for the organization. This may sound strange given your immediate problems, but it is important that your direction is clear before we start randomly fixing things. Sam, I know you have heard this before, but it all starts with the customers. What can we do to make their lives better, and how are we doing against that vision? Leslie paused a minute to give Sam time to think about what she had just said. Then she went on. It's like that picture of the boat with the oars in the waters that you have hanging behind your desk. When all your processors, managers, and regional managers are working together towards the vision that you have of how to deliver value to your customers, the boat is going to be going in a straight line in the waters. Instead of thinking about making our numbers, we need to understand how NL service credit transaction processing is going to deliver that value. So Sam, what is it that your customers value and what is your vision for delivering that value? Folding her arms in her lap, Leslie sat back in her chair and waited quietly for Sam's response. Sam didn't say anything for a couple of minutes. Each time he started to speak, he paused again. Leslie seemed different from other consultants he has hired. They all wanted to make a good first impression by providing their brilliant solutions right away, not by asking a set of questions. Questions that he had to admit to himself he was not sure how to answer. Reflecting, Sam realized he hadn't really thought about NL service customers in years, or what they might value. He was focused on making the numbers and getting corporates off his back, and a vision of how to deliver that value. Sam was pretty sure he would need some help figuring that one out. But Leslie came highly recommended by Sarah, and Sarah's company was doing better than most of the competition, even though the company was pretty new. Sam turned and looked at the picture behind his desk and then turned to Leslie. Leslie, he said, I'm not sure that I know how to answer your questions, but if you're willing to work with me to figure this out, I would like to invite you to help us at NL Service Incorporation. Understanding leadership vision. So despite his friend Sarah's warning, Sam immediately looked to Leslie for solutions. She would not allow herself to be baited by Sam into jumping into his idea of what the problem were and offering solution. If she did that, she would be violating the very principle she was trying to teach her clients. Instead, she deflected the conversation by asking Sam what his vision was for the organization. This caught Sam off guard and made him think. He was not used to consultants making him think. He was used to consultants giving him what they thought he wanted to hear so that they could win his business. In this case, Sam is acting like the ideal learner and quickly includes he has not spent enough time establishing a vision for customer service. This short interaction convinced him he wants to work with Leslie. Obviously, life is not always so easy, and many managers in his situation would push back at Leslie, looking for answers. If I wanted questions, I would not need a consultant. In such cases, it may be that the student really is not ready for the teacher. As it is, Sam will begin to develop a vision. It will not only be an elaborate vision, and Leslie is not using a structured process to develop a strong vision. At this point, that would be too much for Sam. She has to meet him where he is, which is just starting the process of reconsidering his basic assumption of how to lead. Notice that Sam did not immediately establish a committee to find the right consultants based on competitive bids. Often, large corporations have a standard practice of competitive bidding, and the committee issues a request for bid. The usual suspect consulting firm writes elaborate proposal promising the world, often without knowing much about the company and its situation. They propose generic solutions to generic problem. They propose generic solutions to generic problem. As we get to know Leslie, we can safely bet she would not have been willing to play competitive bidding game By engaging Leslie from the start, based on his gut feeling, Sam is giving Leslie an opportunity to follow an organic process of coaching him, drawing out of him his vision, and grasping the situation to learn how to proceed rather than walking in with a detailed proposal and off-the-shelf solution. So this is where we'll stop for our reading, still telling us the story about NL Service Corporation. So Sam went ahead with Sarah's idea to hire Leslie as a consultant. The first thing Leslie did was to ask him about his vision concerning customer service. So, what are the values your organization or your company bring to customer? What are those things? What are the values you bring to customers that will make all your processes in your company good? So Leslie was trying to establish this fact with Sam, that he had to have a vision. He has to have, a plan for his customer, because Sam has never had or considered customers as one of the most important thing in his organization. So in summary, what this passage is actually telling us, that once you need it, like I said yesterday, if you need help, you have to ask for help. Secondly, you need to have a vision and a plan for customers. You have to put them into consideration. And the third one, you have to be willing to learn. You have to be open to change. Leslie didn't just start giving out or dishing out solutions. She had to ask questions to find out what exactly was the problem. She first identified what the problem. She and Sam to identify what the problem is in the organization, so that they will be able to proffer a long-lasting solution, not just something that they will fix for that main time. She also had to help him understand what leadership vision is. Like I said, she didn't just start offering solutions. She had to make him understand what it means for a leader to have a vision in an organization. What's the vision you have for your organization? What's the vision you have for your customers, your staff? What do you plan on doing? How do you plan to deliver an efficient and effective service or value to your customers? So that's just a brief summary of our book for this morning. Thank you.